when I was 13, the Rosh Hashanah after my bat mitzvah, I was in services, and I saw everybody standing up and sitting down, and standing up and sitting down, and standing up and sitting down, and standing up and sitting down. And I had no idea why, except that, the rabbi does this, and we all stand up, and does this, and we all sit down. And I'm looking through the book, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm 13, I've seen a lot of this world, and this whole guy in the sky with a thunderbolt and the beard and the menacing glare and the anger management problems that sees you when you're sleeping and knows when you're awake, not so much. And so I decided that I was an atheist, and I was, very much an atheist. And it wasn't until I was 22 and looking for language for what I would now describe as mystical encounters that I kind of by accident stumbled on the fact that actually thousands of years of nuanced Jewish theology do not think that God is, Zeus, the dude with the mountain. I had no idea. I had no idea that there were a number of different ways that the tradition conceptualized the divine, and that many of them, not just one, spoke really, really powerfully to where I already was and was describing the life that I was already living in terms of the experiences I was having, and B, I sort of slowly over time discovered that the tradition was very smart vis-a-vis how you access these experiences. And oh, wait, it's not about the experiences at all. It's about this transformative process that changes who you are as a person and how you encounter the world. I had no idea because nobody told me. And in my work as a campus rabbi working with 20-year-olds, my story resonates a lot with them because it's also their story. The 20-year-olds that I know are in basically the exact same space with their Jewish identity as the 30-somethings that I know, and many, many 40-somethings that I know, and 50-somethings and 60-somethings, probably all the way back to my grandparents, whose parents sort of came running from the shtetls and wanted to go away from all that religious stuff into the sort of enlightened, individualist American context. There are generations of American Jews who have lost the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral Torah of Judaism's richness and meaning and depth and power. And it's been slowly going away for a long time. There are a lot of people who don't know that they're standing next to a door. And there are a lot of people who don't know that the door opens and that there are all sorts of magical riches inside and that they can have as much as they want. And this is, by and large, the failure of American synagogues and communal institutions and the educational system inside the Jewish community. And Jay speaks a little bit snidely about this and says, oh, well, gee, all these organizations say that only if people knew the riches, then magical things would happen. I think a lot of people don't know that there are riches, and that those riches can speak deeply and powerfully to them. And this is transformative. I agree with Jay that the problem is that many major Jewish organizations think that once you kind of can force people into the room, you can control the outcome of what happens and what they pick up and how they use it and what they do with it. And I think that's part of the ongoing failure of the American Jewish establishment. There's an objectification of an entire generation, right? An attempt to use an entire generation of people as a means to an end, and whether that end is endogamy or the perpetuation of certain organizational structures or whatever, there's all of this hand-wringing about what we're going to do with the kids, what we're going to do about the kids, how can we be cool and sexy to get the kids. And what's lost is the awareness that young adults are adults. And by and large, the way they understand their Jewishness is more or less the same in more ways than not than with the Gen Xers and the Boomers and others in the community today. And trying to regard them as a personed off set of people who, if you can be cool and sexy and exciting, then they'll come, then we can grab them. That's where the failure is. Most of the 20-somethings I know are, like many of the 30-somethings and 40-somethings that I know, looking for deep ways to experience their life and to find a system that speaks to their most fundamental questions. Like, that's what they want. And they want to be in communities of like-minded souls, possibly of a diverse age range. And and they want to have complicated, multifaceted experiences. And there are very, very few places in the organized Jewish community where I see that understanding and that interest. When we take people into the proverbial room, and I take very seriously my role as an educator in that when I walk them around the room and say, here are treasures and here are treasures, and look, this is very, very shiny and sparkly here, I want them to know what they're doing. I want them to know what they're talking about. I don't want them to have a superficial sort of buffet style, honestly, relationship to Judaism. I want them to understand the entire system, and I want them to understand the system as interlocked and intertwined, and then I want them to do whatever they're going to do with it. At a certain point, you have to let go and just drop control over outcome. And that is how Judaism has managed to stay rich and powerful and diverse and exciting over the many thousands of years. And I really do think that there are specifics here and there that speak to this cultural moment, but more than not, there is nothing new under the sun. And this is just another moment of people trying to take this Torah and receive it anew at Sinai. And the real crisis, if there is a crisis, it is in the fact that so few people have any idea about what's going on at all. And people who graduate from the day school system or from some more organized systems don't necessarily also feel empowered to say, this is mine, I'm going to take this and break it apart and glue it together and whatever. What we need to say, and when real transformation happens, is when peers and mentors say, even to the people who are at the very beginning of their Jewish journey, if you will, this is yours. Go have it. Here's the source code. Go have fun with it. Call me if you need help. I'll be around. But we have to be co-creators with the people that we're trying to serve, and that means not just 20-somethings, but also 30-somethings and 40-somethings and 50-somethings. And we have to be in constant dialogue with the people with whom we are attempting to create and grow and change. And at a certain point, we just have to cede control. So that's a lot of it, I think. I agree with Yehuda that there are certain fundamental principles that need to emerge. And for me, the bottom line is that you have to give people a solid understanding of what it is, and then they're going to go do something with it. And it might not be what you would like. And you have to trust that this is their inheritance, just as much as it was yours at some point, and to let them do that. We're this very exciting cultural moment. One really distinctive feature of now is the ability, as Jay mentioned, of us to communicate in a totally different way. And word of mouth has been transformed by the internet and social networking and all of that. And so it is much easier than probably it's ever been to share wisdom and to crowdsource and to, kind of distance train leaders in certain ways, and to connect to and help develop nascent communities or things that are off the grid. And I think there are micro communities happening all over the place. And this is this magical opportunity. And so in this way, I think all of us, and certainly those who are coming of age now, are afforded the possibility to be more destiny-driven now than they ever had been. So I think this is a moment where we're going to see a new flowering of Jewish life and excitement. It's already been happening over the last 15 years, I think since about 2001. That was sort of the moment when suddenly Gen X got its Jewish act together, and I think we're right around the corner from the millennials doing the same. And I think it's going to be really exciting. And I think it's going to be really powerful. And our job, when it starts to happen, is more or less to just get out of the way and say, go make magic things happen. So.